Well, good morning. I want to share this meditation with you today, and I'm hoping that this has been a wonderful day for you. At least it's beginning for me that way, and God has continued to bless my life, and I hope that God has blessed yours as well. I could not help but notice a few things have been changing. The fall colors have come into New Jersey for the most part. It certainly is different than where I lived before in Michigan and Kansas and Nebraska. I recall one year that we had a snowstorm on Halloween, and afterwards the sun came out and there were branches all over the streets because the snow had weighed down the limbs covering the colorful leaves. But if you stop to look, in the bright sunlight, the color of orange and red and white being dominant shone through. It was beautiful in its own way. Here we are almost 2 weeks later in the fall, and I still am having to mow my lawn. Well, the grass is still growing. There are still crops standing in some of our fields. And, well, the trucks for the hunters are parked along the highway, so I know it's hunting season. Boy, by the way, I wish you the best in your hunting trips, and please return home safely. Well, the voting is over, and I know this because when I'm watching TV, there are advertisements that I haven't seen for several months, it seems, if not even longer. People telling the products that they want us to buy for Christmas or the holidays. And the tone is more positive and actually refreshing for a change. I'm always glad for the change which comes after an election. Now we are all waiting for the finalization of this election. How are we to deal with all of this, what seems to be uncertainty? Which breeds, I believe, some more anxiety, which we really don't need, and the stress, the tension, and sometimes sleepless nights. For me, it is clear. As we consider the next weeks and the days ahead, I hope you will turn to Philippians, the 4th chapter, and follow along. In the 4th chapter, beginning with verse 4, we hear Paul's advice to those who are filled with stress. Paul is closing his letter to the Philippian congregation and the surrounding areas where he wrote this epistle, one that Paul certainly loved and cared a great deal for. His final exhortation goes this way: "Rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice." When we are stressed, it is vital that we find a way to rejoice, to shout out loud in joy for what we have in our faith. We have the Lord that understands us. We have a hope for tomorrow and the next day and even beyond. When we rejoice and lift our voices high above the noise of the day, it does something that helps our soul. It lifts us up. In these days when we have limited access to the world for the most part with the pandemic and all, and we sometimes feel confined to our houses or a small amount of space and where we can find safety, I have noticed the sounds of music quickly build me up. Singing a hymn that I've known all of my life, Blessed Assurance, or Holy, 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 or a folk song, lifts me up. In looking at some videos the other day, I saw a singer who opened his windows in a downtown apartment and he began to sing a song that was on his heart. Soon others opened their windows and began to listen. He was observant and noticed this, and he chose a song that he felt everybody would know and encouraged them to join him in singing with this beautiful melody. His voice carried onto the streets, and their voice soon joined in song. You know, everyone who saw this began to sing, and their spirits, I could tell, was lifted up. Paul's advice comes alive even today. Rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice. But he doesn't end there in helping the people. He said, let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. Keeping calm is not always easy when one is stressed or under pressure. We may come at things like a bull in a china closet. All that can do is create a mess. So be gentle. Be gentle. As they would say, breathe in, breathe out. Take a deep inhale. Slowly exhale. If you do that maybe 4, 5, 10 times, you'll relax. Be gentle. You see, Paul was well aware that these new Christians were deeply concerned about his life and his circumstances, and they wanted more from him. They knew the likelihood of Romans' power to destroy this man and his mission. Paul knew their concern, and thus he tried to remind them of the gentle spirit that he had brought, and the fact that the Lord was always with them and with him. Sometimes in our anxiety and stress, we can lose awareness that the Lord is there with us all of the time. In verse 6, he says, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. This is clearly a reminder of Jesus' teaching to not worry about tomorrow, for there's enough worries about today. Don't get uptight about things you cannot change at the very moment. It can and will be okay. Paul says if you really need to do something, and there are times when we say to ourselves, we have to do something. It is part of our flight response in perceived danger. So in every situation, Paul says, no exceptions, no excuses. You can pray. Identify your need and pray. Petition God in your response. Not in a nature of demand, but in an attitude of thanksgiving. Speak to God and He will hear you. Paul knew that some would question his counsel and some would react to his ministry and say there is no way this is going to work out. It won't be okay. But he then reminded those to watch and wait for God's response. It will be coming. Give us patience, Lord. Verse 7 says, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your heart and your mind in Christ Jesus. To the Greek world and the Greek culture, the heart was the center of life. And a sound mind was equally important. And we also affirm both of those things. These two things were at the top of the value list, the value column of life. The Gentiles in these cities wanted to have a good mind and a good life. And Paul reminds him that the peace of God will be there. God could not destroy all of humanity. He would not, and he does not. The scripture tells us that there were times that God might have done so, but then he was merciful and forgave them. Verse 8 says, finally, brothers and sisters, including you and me, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Wow. He told it like it was. Well, whatever. We need to know that we can trust and believe. And when we believe, that manner of truth comes out. We act on that as nobility and in a personal stature of trust, a pure heart without regret. The actions that are taken must be out of love for one another. And in the end, the crowds need to respond, and they will, because they will admire our actions. But Paul says there is still more. When you have prayed and listed the desires and what you would like to see come about, remember there are two sides to most concerns. And in whatever you do, ask yourself, will you be admired for the actions that you are going to be taking? Be sure that your actions are excellent and above the standards of the day. And if you don't hear praises with true meaning, you still must press on. You still must act in a way that others will find the spirit of thanksgiving. In verse 9, he closes this response. Whatever you have learned or received or heard from me, or seen in me, put it into practice, and the God of peace will be with you. He was so assured of that. Here it is, a whole lot of actions and ways we should respond in times of stress and anxiety. Trust me, when you begin to practice these things, you cannot help but grow in your helping of others and your spiritual life. Let us pray. Father, if our life is anxious and stressful today, help us to hear the advice of the Apostle Paul and take action on it. Be glad. Be filled with joy. Rejoice. Lord, those are words that we want to follow today. May our conduct be possible to bring that to others. And may your Spirit be with us as we seek to affirm your will and way. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen. Well, until the next time, we look forward to seeing what God is going to do in our midst. God bless you, and have a good